Welcome, everybody. Welcome, fellow patriots. Welcome, fellow deplorables. Welcome once again to the Conservative Commandos radio show. I'm Sharron Angle, coming to you from the studios of the Conservative Commandos radio network with a shout out to our listeners on radio stations in Jacksonville, Tampa, and the Villages, Florida, Las Vegas and Reno, Nevada, Macon, Georgia, Lancaster, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, Boulder and Colorado Springs, Colorado, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, Long Beach, California, Arlington, Virginia, and Washington, D.C. As our producer, Rick Trader, says, we are everywhere. We are everywhere. And my co-host today is Melissa Isaak. Melissa, welcome to the Conservative Commandos radio show.
How are you doing, Sharron? It's always good to co-host with you.
Yeah, thank you.
And we're coming off of Father's Day weekend. Hey, it was did you have a good Father's Day weekend? We sure did.
We did. We thought it would be just too crowded. There's it's not, I wouldn't call it a resort. It's a reservoir, and it was turning over. It's warm enough now that the algae has all come up from the bottom, and so is a little bit muddy and murky. But we went out anyway and found ourselves a little place on a cove where nobody else was. We took the jet skis and the boat and the fishing poles and the paddle boards and grandchildren. It was great. It was just great. It was a fun time. And of course, my husband's a real outdoorsman, so that's a great thing for him. When we get outside, he's in his element.
That's great. And fishing is just one of those Father's Day things. It really is. You know, every year my firm has a fishing rodeo for dads and their kids. And so we had about 55 kids out there fishing on a Saturday, started before Father's Day. But I tell you what, I wish our country put a lot more emphasis on fathers and the importance of fathers. A lot of our social ills would be cured or be addressed if we would do that, but we don't. Sadly, I think we put more emphasis on the collection of child support, when real child support is dad there raising their kids. So it's you look at the statistics, and we need to do a better job as a country, really building up and emphasizing our dads.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You know, when you talk about our country and fathers, thought it was interesting. They're tearing down Teddy Roosevelt. That's the big thing now is the Teddy Roosevelt statue. And I wanted to read something in his defense about fathers. He said in a speech in 1901. So this was a century ago, over a century ago now. He said, "This country cannot afford to have its sons less than men. But neither can it afford to have them other than good men. If courage and strength and intellect are unaccompanied by the moral purpose, the moral sense, they become merely forms of expression for unscrupulous force and unscrupulous cunning. If the men of the nation are not anxious to work in many different ways with all their might and strength, and ready and able to fight at need and anxious to be fathers of families, why, that nation has cause to be alarmed about its future. There is no physical trouble among us Americans. The trouble with the situation is one of character, and therefore we can conquer it if only we will."
And that's exactly right. If only we will. But unfortunately, too many of our lawmakers won't concern themselves with the subject, even when it's brought in front of them. But it seems like there's fathers advocates. We're out there saying, look, dads need to be involved, and our opposition is the feminists. There's a lot of women who say we don't need men. Our children don't need fathers. Well, yes, they do. You look at the statistics. Children are more likely to drop out of school. Girls more likely to get pregnant. There's a higher rate of mental illness, of substance abuse. You name it. When a father's not involved. Look at the mass shooters. I think 25 out of the last 26 grew up fatherless. It's a big issue. We really need to tackle it, and I wish our public officials would take it more seriously.
What's interesting to me is we've been hearing from Black leaders this Black Lives Matter protesting thing, which we've debunked over the last few weeks as nothing but a front for communism.
Yep.
And that they really have no interest in the Black community. In fact, they're destroying the Black communities in these inner cities. The Black leaders have started to come out now and say, if you really want to help the Black community, if Black lives really matter to you, get the fathers back in the homes.
Exactly. That's exactly right. And it is a front for communism. You know, there's some righteous anger within the Black community. It's you know, there's some of this anger is absolutely justified. The problem is look at the policies, and these aren't Republican policies, Democrat policies. These are all the policies across all administrations. It's not a bipartisan issue. It is a bipartisan issue, but it affects both sides.
Mm.
But we want to address this. I don't think people realize this, but every time someone pays child support, the states get reimbursed for just collecting it. So the states have a monetary interest in fathers, mostly, being placed on child support, which of course then it, you know, for somebody to get child support, they have to usually get full custody. So it's a trickle down effect, and it has incentivized divorces, and it has, you know, it has destroyed the American family, completely destroyed it. You want to look at the social ills, I think we could start there. That's the place to start. Anytime you have legislation that destroys the family, the unintended or intended consequence is you know, the social destruction, and that's where we are.
Well, and I really wonder if it isn't an intended consequence. It looks like this has all been orchestrated and planned, not to defend a downtrodden minority in our country, but to actually undermine the family and undermine our culture.
Absolutely. You know, if the government really cared about intact families, then they wouldn't have these policies in. You know, if you're a woman, and if you're poor and you have a child, you have to swear to the government, hey, you know, this father's nowhere around. And if that father is caught staying with you and your child, you can get kicked out of, you know, public housing. So rather than subsidizing the family to stay together, they're saying, no, we'll give you money, but only if you stay broken up, only if you stay apart. You know, you look at our prisons, over 90% of inmates were raised by single mothers. I'm not jabbing at single moms. You know, most single moms are overwhelmed. They do the best they can, but it shows the importance of fathers. But yet, you know, we have our lawmakers that refuse to acknowledge that, but they don't want to face the wrath of feminists either. So, and you know, the feminists have been a strong lobby against, but they're anti-family.
Well, but they need help, right? Because I was a woman legislator, and when I went into my legislature, and this has now been over 10 years ago that I served in the state legislature, but even then, they had the help of Republican men. Come on. Yeah. You know, when they would come in with their radical ideas, and many of these were not, the forefront wasn't a woman, but often it was a Democrat woman that would bring these bills forward. We couldn't defeat them, not because we didn't have the votes, it was because the votes would go from our side to their side on things that absolutely were hurtful, like you said, to the family, where you won't allow a father and a mother to reconcile, where you won't help the family. I think it's really an interesting thing that what has happened with this China virus, that the help that they're sending are to small businesses, and they're now looking at families and how destructive economically this has been to families, because the number one cause of divorce is economic. That's the thing they fight about. And you, more than anyone, knows this, don't you?
Oh, yeah. Yep. And the problem is that women particularly are financially incentivized to end the relationship, because they're more likely to get alimony if they ask for it. They're more likely to get custody, which child support follows children. They're more likely to get awarded a more favorable property settlement. So women have really no incentive on staying in the marriage and fighting for the marriage, fighting to keep their family intact. Most of them are led by attorneys who say, no, 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 don't share custody. You want full control. And most people, unfortunately, and I hate to say this, listen to their lawyers. And it's been, at the expense, to the demise of families. So there's nothing family about family law. I can tell you in my experience, there's nothing family friendly about it.
Well, with that, we need to go to a break. We are coming to you from the Conservative Commandos Radio Network studios and around the world on the Internet, TalkStream Live, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, Net Talk America, and AM/FM 24/7. Of course, now you can watch us on the AUN TV network in Northern California. I'm Sharron Angle here with my co-host, Melissa Isaak, and we'll be right back to tell you about our guests for today.
Friend, do you remember when it felt good to withdraw your cash from the bank to expand a business, go on vacation, or buy a new car? Well, today, withdrawing your own cash has become a very risky business, according to The Secret War, a shocking new research report. I just read it. And folks, I was amazed to learn why banks are now required to spy on us for the government and then report any suspicious or unusual behavior. I suggest you get The Secret War free. Just call the number on the screen, no charge, from the folks at Swiss America. And get this, did you know simply spending cash today may be enough to have you branded as a potential criminal? That's right. The new war on cash is really a war against all freedom-loving Americans. The Secret War is yours free, so call the number on the screen and you can tell them Pat Boone gave you the number.
Dish TV is better than cable TV. Here's why. Dish has the nation's lowest TV price, along with an award-winning DVR that can skip commercials, record 8 shows at once, and get access to thousands of movies at your fingertips. Cable simply can't even compare. So the smart choice is to cut the cable and get Dish. Plus, you get all these great TV features, free HD DVR upgrade, free installation, and free movie channels. Say goodbye to cable and get more with Dish TV. 877-290-7764, 877-290-7764. As an added bonus, you can switch to Dish now and receive a $50 Visa gift card. So call now and get Dish TV. Call 877-290-7764, 877-290-7764. That's 877-290-7764. Limited time offer, 24-month commitment and credit qualification required. Cancellation fee, monthly equipment fees, and other restrictions apply. Promotion can change at any time.
Do you know someone with a drug or alcohol problem? Get help right now. Insurance may cover everything. Stop the drug and alcohol nightmare.
Call 800-209-5173.
Everybody wants cheap airfare, but where do you find it? You call Low Cost Airlines. They specialize in cheap flights, discount hotel rooms, cheap car rental rates, and with a best price guarantee. If you want the lowest prices on your airline tickets or other travel services, call now. That's right, call. That's the only way to get these rates. Experts are standing by 24/7 to get you the cheapest airfare and hotel rates available. So don't wait. Call now.
Are you being audited and do you owe the IRS $10,000 or more in back taxes? Is the IRS threatening to take more of your money? Don't fight the IRS alone. The Tax Doctor is here to help you negotiate your tax bill and reduce your stress. The IRS can freeze your assets and seize your bank accounts, but you can stop these IRS actions. The Tax Doctor will work with you using our years of experience to represent your case to help you get the best resolution under the IRS guidelines. Help is here to deal with the IRS to reduce your stress. We've handled thousands of cases, so we know what we're doing. If you owe $10,000 or more in back taxes, do not call the IRS alone. Call a Tax Doctor now for a tax emergency analysis. If you're living with diabetes and using insulin, you know the pain of pricking your fingers over and over again. By wearing a small remote device called a continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, you can reduce the pain of pricking your fingers right away. If you're testing your blood sugar 4 more times per day, injecting insulin 3 or more times per day, or using an insulin pump, call the Diabetic Health Hotline today and learn about the latest CGM technology. Not only can a CGM immediately reduce pain, it's accurate, easy to use, and helps you make better diabetes treatment decisions. And if you have Medicare, you can get a new CGM at little or no out-of-pocket cost. We'll also provide free shipping of your new CGM, and we'll bill your insurance company for you. If you are testing your blood sugar 4 more times per day and injecting insulin 3 or more times per day, or using an insulin pump, call now and learn how to receive your new continuous glucose monitor at little or no out-of-pocket cost.
Welcome back, listeners, to the Conservative Commandos radio show. I'm Sharron Engel here with my co-host, Melissa Isaak. If you'd like a rebroadcast of today's show, check out our website, ccrshow.com, ccrshow.com. And, of course, don't forget to friend us, follow us, and like us on Facebook and on Twitter. Melissa, we've got 3 guests today. Would you tell us who they are?
Yeah, we're going to be speaking with Robert Gasser, goes by Bob, and he's the co-owner of Basin Fertilizer and Chemical Company, located in the heart of Klamath Basin in Merrill, Oregon. Oregon, I can't even talk today. The Klamath Basin straddles the state lines of Southern Oregon and Northern California. And he's going to talk to us really about water rights and how it seems that the federal government is overregulating water in that area. And he staged and put on and organized a 30-mile tractor and farm equipment lineups, to protest them not having any water. So I'm interested to talk to him. I love that grassroots stuff, that people really get out there, dig their heels in, and get rolling. We're going to speak with Matthew Bunson, and he is the executive editor of EWTN News. And he's the author or co-author of more than 50 books, including the Encyclopedia of American Catholic History and an award-winning biography of Pope Francis. And he's going to talk to us about President Trump's exclusive interview with Raymond Arroyo and a lot of talking points that President Trump had. And these are everything now. It's such a critical time for us in terms of us as conservatives, the issues that are important to us, and the issues that we have fundamental beliefs in. So I'm interested to hear about that exclusive interview that President Trump gave. And we're going to speak with Steve Overguard, and he and his wife, Debbie, own and operate Alberta Adventures. And they're up in Alberta, Canada, and they're an outfitting company, and they do hunting and fishing expeditions of the like. And a lot of their business comes from the U.S. and this COVID-19 pandemic, I think it has really wreaked havoc on him and his business. But also, he can talk a little bit about, about Canada. I mean, some people in the United States just praise socialized medicine, although they never had to live under it. And I think we should ask Steve about that, how great it really is, or isn't.
Or isn't. That's right. Well, talking about great is or great isn't, I've been apologizing for our he's not our native son. I found out he just came here to go to college, but he's left, and that's Colin Kaepernick. Of course, he's been in the news for funding some of these protesters' legal battles. Anyway, I'm in deep sympathy for the nation that Colin Kaepernick is here. Perhaps he should find a new home in another place, not America. But you have one in Alabama that's been making some news. And one of these guys on Twitter, he noted that Bubba is disappointed, dramatic, and fragile. But the situation is that Bubba Wallace found a noose, he says, in his garage. Can you talk about how are Alabamans receiving that?
So I haven't heard much about it. I think that the United States is having more of a reaction. But then I also heard that was something that was there since 2019. I think it'd been there for a couple of years. So, and it's sad. You can't read the news and you can't rely on the news. But you know, honestly, I don't know what it. First of all, obviously I don't condone nooses being hung for harassment purposes. But somebody said no, it was a pull cord for a garage door, and it's been there for 2 years. So, but to be honest with you, there hasn't been much of a reaction at all here in Alabama. I think that's something that people love talking about Alabama because of our history, our civil rights history. You look back on the 2017 special election, the whole world is watching Alabama. People love discussing us, talking about us because of our history. You know, that the Northerners think that we still own slaves down here. You know, we certainly don't. So, but yeah, Alabama's got a lot of rich history, so we tend to stay with the spotlight on us. But no, to answer your question, just to let everyone know, it hasn't been much of a topic here.
Bubba Wallace is not the talk of every dinner table, huh?
He is not. He is not at all. Actually, he's not the spokesman for Alabama. That's for sure.
Well, and it turns out that your report is right. It's the FBI that concluded, with photographic evidence that confirms that the garage door pull rope fashioned like a noose had been positioned there since early in the last fall in 2019. Mm-hmm. And so as well before his team ever arrived at that garage. And, you know, I'm thinking the pull tab on my luggage could be a noose. I suppose it's a slip knot. Come on. You know,
we're in this overly sensitive society that, like, I'm gonna go back. If somebody truly did do that, I mean, I certainly wouldn't condone that.
Right.
But we're in this overly sensitive society. People search for reasons to be offended. It's absurd. It's absurd. You know, we need to focus on our rights as Americans. Our fundamental rights, our constitutional rights that are trampled all the time, but we can't focus on that because we're always getting diverted elsewhere, usually by the media, and there's no telling how much fake news is out there. But yeah, no, it hasn't been a big deal at all. If it's been there since the fall of 2019, I mean, whoever reported that ought to face some sanctions. Our media needs some. Gosh, you know, they can't be held to the same standard as Joe Q Public. They can't. There has to be some checks and balances on the media because this is getting ridiculous.
Right, that they would even report this before, and that's the thing. It's this rush to judgment.
Yeah,
it all gets reported before it's investigated, and once you've investigated it, it makes everyone look foolish. Mm-hmm. And I guess I'm wanting to kind of change a little bit, but not too much. Judge Roy Moore is in Alabama, and I think he will go down in history as one of the heroic Alabamans. Yeah. But you know, what's going on in Alabama with this? I mean, whenever we get tension like we have now over these protests, and that we talked about yesterday, actually, that the reason for racial tension is the communists have always said this was our weak point. And if they could keep pushing at it and festering it, they could destroy our culture with it. Yeah. And so we see this as the plot. It's hard not to be a conspiracy person when you see that these protests have been organized and planned, and they've just been waiting for a racial reason. You know, we know that there have been policemen that have been killed. We know that policemen have killed people, but they were waiting for just the right situation in order to come and drop their bricks in small towns and have the ammunition all ready. And as we said before, this has really nothing to do with Black Lives Mattering. I think one of the most poignant things I've seen was a YouTube of a woman coming out of her business, calling them all liars. You liars. If you really thought Black Lives mattered, you'd care about me. I'm Black and you've just destroyed my life, everything I've worked for. And that's not an isolated case. I've seen several of those now where people have just been destroyed by this. And I guess I'm just wondering how this all looks in Alabama.
Alabama had some riots. They pulled down some monuments, attempted to pull down some monuments, but for the most part, there's not the racial tension here that the media wants everybody to think. There isn't. There's not the racial tension. There's a Democratic legislator, great guy, wonderful guy, and some people he put out a statement that look. This is the thing is I'm not going to sit here and tell you what it's like to live my life as a black man because I don't know. There's some things that he had went through. He made a statement that took some criticism, from the right and criticism from some other black Alabamians. But the thing is what I liked about that is the fact that he had an opinion, he expressed it, and for the most part, people were respecting differences of opinion. So I've been seeing a lot of that actually. I mean, the riots didn't they didn't ruin businesses, they didn't loot stores. I mean, it was for the most part, it was a demonstration of perceptions and opinions. But there is not this horrible racial tension that the media wants you to believe. No, it's not there. We've got some legislators here. I would give them the time of day. We got some great ones, even Democrats, I will say, that I would lock arms with and march to get things done. Because I think people don't realize, but for some of our Democratic lawmakers, they think more like us than what we realize. But they're not the ones that the media are highlighting. The ones the media are highlighting are the extremists on both sides. So
that's right.
Things are okay. Things are okay down here.
Well, that's good to hear. And it's good to hear that some people are still recognizing that there's really one race, and that's the human race. Check that box. Next time they ask you, yes, you are a member of the human race. 98% of us, 98%, we're all alike that way. Very superficial differences on the outside.
We all came from Noah, right?
That's right. That's right. And now we are coming to you from the Conservative Commandos Radio Network studios and around the world on the internet with TalkStream Live, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, Net Talk America, and AM/FM 24/7. Of course, you can watch us on the AUN TV network in Northern California. I'm Sharron Angle here with my co-host, Melissa Isaak, and we'll be right back with our guests.
Are you a veteran and are you a homeowner? Then think Streamline and maybe save yourself a few $100s every month on your mortgage. A VA Streamline refinance. It's called a rate reduction loan because mortgage interest reduction is exactly what it does. It's just for veterans and it lowers your mortgage rate so you can save on mortgage payments every month, every year. That's a lot of money saved. And it's so easy to qualify. You don't need pay stubs, a W-2, or bank statements. You don't need a home appraisal. It's fast and easy to apply. And mortgage interest rates are very low right now. So a VA Streamline refinance makes it super easy and super affordable to take advantage of this opportunity and really cut your monthly mortgage payments. Veteran and homeowner? Call us to find out more. 888-893-7491. 888-893-7491.
Do you have an idea for an invention, but you don't know what to do next?
How do you get in front of companies or get a patent?
Call InventHelp. They've been helping inventors just like you for 35 years.
And thousands of people contact them every month.
With 65 offices, you can meet with an InventHelp representative near you who will keep your idea confidential and explain their invention process step by step. InventHelp has helped over 10,000 inventors get patents. And they offer 3D animations and prototyping services to help demonstrate your idea. InventHelp's exclusive databank includes over 9,000 companies who have agreed to confidentially review new ideas, like yours.
Don't wonder what to do next. Take action right now and get the help you need from InventHelp.
InventHelp. Call today for free information.
800-880-2937. That's 800-880-2937 now.
Is your credit card debt driving you batty? We're going up! Just like your credit card fees and interest rates. To the top! With those sky-high payments! You can't forget about your debt. Always fear, the debt suckers are here.
Are your payments sucking the life out of you? Just one call to Consolidated Credit can get the debt suckers off your back. Consolidated Credit will lower your interest rates, consolidate your bills into one easy payment, and get you out of debt fast. Call Consolidated Credit and get your life back.
Call 1-800-201-8213. 1-800-201-8213. That's 1-800-201-8213. 1-800-201-8213.
When debt is the problem, Consolidated Credit is the solution.
Because debt sucks!
The AM/FM 24/7 Roku channel broadcasts all of our shows on demand. To ensure reliability, we store and stream our content on the same servers as Netflix and Amazon. Our Roku channel is free to use, and anyone owning one of the more than 10 million Roku devices can watch our channel at no cost whatsoever. If you have a television show or are thinking about producing a show, you can be a part of AM/FM 24/7's Roku channel. Watch our great shows on your Roku device. It's free and more reliable than cable TV. Are you stuck with a timeshare? Did you attend the presentation and were seduced and enticed into buying that great vacation and investment? Now you're in the terrible position of trying to figure out a way to get out of that mess. You're not alone. For over 15 years, BuyYourTimeshare.com has been helping people like yourself get out of timeshare ownership. The fact is, there is no resale market. Unscrupulous telemarketers call you and say they have buyers waiting, and the next thing that happens is you give them hundreds of dollars for an ad, and you'll never hear from them again. Another fact is that an identical timeshare to yours is being offered on eBay for $1, and no one is buying it. If you want out of your timeshare, I urge you to go to buyyourtimeshare.com or call them at 877-94-HELP-ME. That number again is 877-94-HELP-ME. Buyyourtimeshare.com. That's buyyourtimeshare.com. 877-94.
Attention Viagra and Cialis users. Are prescription drugstore prices too costly? Get 50 generic pills for only $99. That's right, 50 100 milligram generic Viagra for only $99. Our products have the same active ingredients as the brand name products. Money back guaranteed if you're 100% not satisfied. Get 50 generic pills for only $99. Order now and call the number on your screen. Have your credit card ready.
Welcome back, listeners. Welcome back to the Conservative Commandos radio show and, of course, AUN TV. We want to talk about where our affiliates are there in Northern California on AUN TV. You can see us in San Francisco, San Rafael, Marin, North Bay, San Jose, Silicon Valley, Santa Rosa, Redding, Sacramento, Chico, California, and soon Reno, Lake Tahoe, and Carson City, Nevada. And Melissa, our next guest is ready. Would you please introduce him?
Yes, we have with us Robert Gasser, who's the co-owner of Basin Fertilizer and Chemical Company, located in the heart of the Klamath Basin in Merrill, Oregon. The Klamath Basin straddles the state lines of southern Oregon and northern California. In 2001, Bob was a co-organizer of the Bucket Brigade, a water rights rally that gathered approximately 18,000 supporters from throughout the Northwest. Recently, in May, Bob led a committee to rally nearly a 30-mile convoy of tractors, farm equipment, and agriculture supporters called Shut Down, Fed Up, to send a strong message to federal agencies that bad water policies are killing farms and fish. So, Bob, welcome to the Conservative Commandos radio show.
Well, thanks for having me.
So tell us about this 30-mile convoy of tractors and farm equipment.
Well, why we originally did this is because the two Fish and Wildlife agencies and National Marine Fisheries Service are basically taking all the water from stored water. The water was supposed to be stored for use to be returned back to the land. That's why the dam was put in Klamath Lake. Well, for example, this year, the river is getting 405,000 acre feet of water going down the river, while only 250,000 acre feet are coming into the lake. And meantime, the farmers were promised 144,000, which we could use right at 400. So it's a drought year. We get that. But what's going on, the river and the lake's getting so much water and we're getting so little. And then what prompted us to have the rally, our 144 shrunk to 80 and was going to shrink more. And what happened this year, all these farmers have invested in the land and it was going to break about maybe a third of the project because there was no way to pay bills because there was not going to get a drop of water on these lands. So that is why we did the rally. And we're not against any group, any environmental group. Our whole cry was, we need more fish, we need more farms. And we can do this if we get back to common sense and get some science into this. Right now, it's almost like we're throwing darts at a board. There's no science to what's going on. And for the last 20 years, for example, the short-nosed and Lost River suckerfish in Klamath Lake have not had a recruitment in 20 years. In fact, they say in 10 more years, they could be extinct. So what we got going on now, we're going to lose all the suckerfish in Klamath Lake, and we're losing the family farms. So what in the heck are we doing? I mean, the federal agencies are they decided years ago more water equals more fish. It doesn't work that way in the Klamath Basin for a lot of reasons, which probably we can go into that if you want. But it's very frustrating to us. So that is why we had the rally. We wanted to call attention to our issue to the Department of Interior and President Trump. That was the whole goal of this. And we did get there. And the end result, we did get some water back because our 144 went to 80. And they thought it might even go lower than that. So we did end up getting back the 144 because Secretary Bernhardt saw it and said, this is wrong, what's going on out there, give them back what they were originally promised, which we're still hurting. And we're not saying this is great, but it's great we got back to where we were.
So why is it the federal government is calling the shots on how the water is distributed versus the state?
That's been a good question for us too. The problem is it's federal law. You got the Endangered Species Act, so we're going against federal judges. We have some judges, in our opinion, is way out of line. They're making calls against us all the time. If it came down to they think they might save one suckerfish, but they know they're going to kill 2 or 3 family farms, they're going to go for the suckerfish. And with no science. So that's the problem we have. As there's been no science in this basin that's impartial. The last impartial science we had was in 2003, and that was prompted from the 2001 complete shutoff, the Bucket Brigade you mentioned earlier, and the National Academy of Science was brought in to study the situation. Well, in a year's time, they came up and said the water cutoff was not justified for these reasons. And they listed the reasons. They said more water on Klamath Lake does not help suckerfish. But what's been going on for the last 20 years? They've been putting more water on the lake. No one listened to them. The federal agencies here at Fish and Wildlife decided that they were wrong, and that's just the way it's been going. And they've been on a losing program for 20 years, and we're just fed up. So,
absolutely. So if you follow the money trail, if there is one, who's benefiting from more money in the lake versus more money from the farmers?
Or more water in the lake? Benefit? Okay, I'm not against the tribes at all because there's some really good tribal people.
Sure.
But the tribes and mostly radical environmental groups, and there's a lot of good environmental groups too. So I'm not painting a broad brush here, but a lot of it always comes down to money. And it's pretty sad that that's where it's at. And it needs to change. We can fix this problem. We really can. We just need someone to look at the thing and get some real solid science, and we can move forward and get this thing so there is more suckerfish, more salmon, and the farms will do well. And they've done it. We've done terrific here for years until the agencies got involved.
So what is the solution? You're saying that this can be fixed, yet we have 30 miles of tractors and farm equipment to get someone's attention. Are you getting the right people's attention?
Yes, we are. So far, we have the Department of Interior has made some promises that they are going to get some real science, and there is some other things too, is like stored water rights. This project was put in the early 1900s. It's one of the first projects put in the United States. And the dam was put in Klamath Lake, and it says right in the contract to be returned to these lands. What we had was two large lakes that we do farm right now. And actually, we use less water farming than used to evaporate on these lakes. So our project puts more water in the river than most projects. They just take water and put it on a desert. We're not that. So there is a fix, and the fix one is you quit putting all this. See, we're holding all these lake levels so high. We used to drop them down. It's a high desert up here. Every 4 or 5 years, we have a low water year, and these lakes go to recede. And we think it cleans up those wetlands that everybody says are so good. Well, that's where all the parasites are living. We think it can kill some of the parasites. It used to before, but we do know this. It won't hurt the sucker fish to drop those lake levels. So if worst case, those suckers will be no worse off than what they were with high lake levels. That's our main point. So the sucker fish for some reason aren't doing well, so you're going to kill the farm economy. And the opposite could be said as far as Klamath River and the coho salmon. What we have there is Klamath Lake's average is 7 foot depth, so it's a hot water lake. So we're releasing hot water down Klamath River, and it harms salmon. Salmon do not like hot water. And here's the other problem. The parasite that attacks salmon is called C. shasta, and they love hot water. They thrive on hot water. Well, what used to happen before 20 years ago, in the summertime, just like this year when there's a drought, the only water in that river is seepages and springs, so it has cold water, and the banks recede down, so they're just the river's only half its size. Well, what else kills C. shasta? Dries up the banks. We haven't dried up the banks in Klamath River for 20 years, and it's a canal now, not a river. So it's very frustrating. Yes, we could solve that one too. It's and a lot of people in these agencies are saying it's complicated. It's not complicated. It's pretty simple. Look at history. Look at what used to work. They just decided it's a federal project, so they have nexus to the water, and that's the only tool they have, and they're going to take everything they can, and that's our problem.
Gotcha. All righty. Well, we're going to have to take a break. We're talking with Bob Gosser. We're coming to you from the Conservative Commandos Radio Network studios and around the world on the internet with TalkStream Live, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, Net Talk America, and AM FM 24/7, and we'll be right back.
Friend, do you remember when it felt good to withdraw your cash from the bank to expand a business, go on vacation, or buy a new car? Well, today, withdrawing your own cash has become a very risky business, according to The Secret War, a shocking new research report. I just read it. And folks, I was amazed to learn why banks are now required to spy on us for the government and then report any suspicious or unusual behavior. I suggest you get The Secret War free. Just call the number on the screen, no charge, from the folks at Swiss America, and get this. Did you know simply spending cash today may be enough to have you branded as a potential criminal? That's right. The new war on cash is really a war against all freedom-loving Americans. The Secret War is yours free, so call the number on the screen and you can tell them Pat Boone gave you the number.
Dish TV is better than cable TV. Here's why. Dish has the nation's lowest TV price, along with an award-winning DVR that can skip commercials, record 8 shows at once, and get access to thousands of movies at your fingertips. Cable simply can't even compare. So the smart choice is to cut the cable and get Dish. Plus, you get all these great TV features, free HD DVR upgrade, free installation, and free movie channels. Say goodbye to cable and get more with Dish TV. 877-290-7764, 877-290-7764. As an added bonus, you can switch to Dish now and receive a $50 Visa gift card. So call now and get Dish TV. Call 877-290-7764, 877-290-7764. That's 877-290-7764. Limited time offer, 24-month commitment and credit qualification required. Cancellation fee, monthly equipment fees, and other restrictions apply. Promotion can change at any time.
Do you know someone with a drug or alcohol problem? Get help right now. Insurance may cover everything. Stop the drug and alcohol nightmare.
Call 800-209-5173.
Everybody wants cheap airfare, but where do you find it? You call Low Cost Airlines. They specialize in cheap flights, discount hotel rooms, cheap car rental rates, and with a best price guarantee. If you want the lowest prices on your airline tickets or other travel services, call now. That's right, call. That's the only way to get these rates. Experts are standing by 24/7 to get you the cheapest airfare and hotel rates available. So don't wait. Call now.
Are you being audited and do you owe the IRS $10,000 or more in back taxes? Is the IRS threatening to take more of your money? Don't fight the IRS alone. The Tax Doctor is here to help you negotiate your tax bill and reduce your stress. The IRS can freeze your assets and seize your bank accounts, but you can stop these IRS actions. The Tax Doctor will work with you using our years of experience to represent your case to help you get the best resolution under the IRS guidelines. Help is here to deal with the IRS to reduce your stress. We've handled thousands of cases, so we know what we're doing. If you owe $10,000 or more in back taxes, do not call the IRS alone. Call a Tax Doctor now for a tax emergency analysis.
If you're living with diabetes and using insulin, you know the pain of pricking your fingers over and over again. By wearing a small remote device called a continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, you can reduce the pain of pricking your fingers right away. If you're testing your blood sugar 4 more times per day, injecting insulin 3 or more times per day, or using an insulin pump, call the Diabetic Health Hotline today and learn about the latest CGM technology. Not only can a CGM immediately reduce pain, it's accurate, easy to use, and helps you make better diabetes treatment decisions. And if you have Medicare, you can get a new CGM at little or no out-of-pocket cost. We'll also provide free shipping of your new CGM, and we'll bill your insurance company for you. If you are testing your blood sugar 4 more times per day and injecting insulin 3 or more times per day, or using an insulin pump, call now and learn how to receive your new continuous glucose monitor at little or no out-of-pocket cost.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Conservative Commandos radio show. I'm Sharron Engel here with my co-host, Melissa Isaak. And if you'd like to hear a rebroadcast of our show, check out our website, ccrshow.com, ccrshow.com. While you're there, be sure to friend us, follow us, and like us on Facebook and on Twitter. We've been talking with our guest, Bob Gasser, who is the co-owner of Basin Fertilizer and Chemical Company that's located in the heart of the Klamath Basin in Merrill, Oregon, about a 30-mile protest. That's right, 30 miles of tractors and farm equipment protesting. We're just kind of in an age of protesting here, Bob, but this is a different kind of protest. You guys didn't do any tearing down monuments or messing up the city streets or assaulting the law enforcement. Tell us about the protest. This was truly a peaceful protest, wasn't it?
Yes, it was a peaceful protest, and every one we've been having quite a few over the years. We leave the area cleaner than we got there. That's what we do. We were not there to tear anything up. We just wanted to get some attention. So yes, it was a very peaceful protest. It was, and that's what farmers and ranchers are, and loggers. I mean, they're all good people. We're not here to tear anything apart. And we just want to get noticed, and that's part of our problems too, is that sometimes you don't unless you have to do things like this. We just soon not have to do these things because most people just soon farm, ranch, and log, but that's where we're at today. There's a new mindset out there on how things should or should not be. So it was a good day. It was a real good day. But like I've told a lot of people, we've had other good days like this, and then you go home and you still have the same sorrows, the same, how am I going to pay the bills? So, I mean, yes, it was a good day, but the reality hits you when you get home again.
Okay, I have some full disclosure to make. You talked about this project, the Tule Lake, Klamath, Siskiyou County. That whole project there is part of my family heritage. My grandfather started farming when they dried up Tule Lake with that dam, and he farmed potatoes for years. And then my father farmed potatoes. And now I have cousins in that area farming potatoes, but not this year. And that was how this came to my attention, because I went to visit my cousin and he said, "Did you hear about our protest? Did you hear about the 28 to 30 miles of tractors going into Klamath Falls for hours? Did you hear about it?" And I said, "No, not a thing." And in fact, he said, "Well, did you hear I'm not farming spuds this year because there's no water." And I want you to explain that graveyard in your background, in your backdrop there, and talk about why the rest of the nation really hasn't heard about this protest.
Well, why we decided to put the crosses, 2,000 crosses there, and why we did that, it's just kind of a grim reminder of the people, the farmers that we lost in 2001 that are no longer farming, and the ones that are going to be lost if this continues here now. And there's going to be some lost, even though we got some of the water back this year. So that, and you can even say for the fish, I mean, because that's everything's in this basin is getting wiped out for no good reason. You know, if they could say they saved one sucker fish or one salmon, we might be okay with it, but they can't. So all we know is these family farms, and this whole basin is 90%, 95% family farms. So it's no corporate farms, it's just small families trying to make a go of it. So it's pretty sad what's going on right now. So that's what that means, sir.
Now, your protest was the same weekend that Black Lives Matter started all their protests across the country. Is that why we didn't hear about 30 miles of tractors?
Yeah, that's our timing, I guess, that way was pretty poor, because yes, we got overran by that the Black Lives Matter. Yeah, and that's it does frustrate us. I mean, because again, it's just a lot of good people had a good message, and it didn't go very far.
Well, it is kind of a frightening message for those of us who don't farm. You know, I live in the city. I depend on a trucker to get my produce here to my local grocery store, and most cities do. It surprises me that Seattle hasn't felt the pinch with that chop bunch in their middle city. What are they doing for food? Where do they think food comes from? And how will this affect the market, I guess, for food this coming season, with these farmers not farming? I know, with my cousin saying I'm not farming spuds. How, and you're saying 2,000 farmers not farming anymore. How does this affect that?
Well, it affects it greatly. Not even in the Klamath, not just in the Klamath Basin, in California, across this nation. A lot of people that do just get their food in the grocery store don't understand what's going on, for the fact that we have the safest food supply in the world because of the regulations, which we're not complaining about that. We want to be the safest. But when we can't farm like this year, we're shut down to a third of what we normally do. Well, that food's coming from another country that does not have these regulations, if you can get it, which so far it happens. But so right now, all across this nation, especially on the West, we're losing farmers all the time due to regulations that do not work, do not help the environment, do not help the species. So things have to make a radical change. It's time. I mean, because we're losing a lot of good people. And usually it's frustrating for us because our farmers are getting older and older and older. After 2001, we lost a lot of young people, and then we had some good years. Farming has good years and bad years. And so we had got another batch of young growers here, Well, years like this, is you're going to have to look at their whole card and say, do I want to farm? I mean, is this worth it? So we're losing a lot of good people, and that's bothering. So one thing about the rally is half the rally was not farmers. Half the rally was business people, furniture store owners, just all walks. The whole community here says we've had enough. So I just wanted to throw that in there because that's what impressed me as much as anything. It wasn't just farmers and ranchers. It was the community saying enough. Let's do something better because this affects all of us. Well,
it does affect all of us. I don't think people stop to think about how that produce gets into their grocery store. And I'm hearing about the truckers saying we're not going into cities where these violent protests are happening. We're not going to truck the supplies in. It's too dangerous for us. We are really, I noticed you said that the farming in that basin is down to 1/3 of what it is. That's amazing.
That's because of the water year this year. People have cut back, shut down, so we're running half to a third right now, and that's because there's been a lot of wells put in. They're just surviving. That's all. So, and as anybody knows, when you run a business, you can't run that. You may get by one year, but we can't get by another year. And then the other thing is, this is not our second shutoff. We've been having little cutbacks for the last 10 years. Not as big as this one, but so it's nobody can run full steam because you never know and you can't plan. So it's a continuing problem with no results for what what we've been going through. There's no results as far as the species, and all we know is it's harming everything.
Well, I was really impressed that you have the solution, and that all we have to do is get the attention of someone who cares enough to make that solution a reality. Bob Gasser, tell our folks, our listeners, how they can friend you, follow you, connect with you, read articles about this protest, help you out.
Well, you can follow us on Facebook, which is Shut Down Fed Up. And also we have a website, which is, of course, www.shutdownfedup.org. So, and also anybody that has connections to congressional people, and the Department of Interior actually is trying to help us this go around. So we just, I guess, kind of nudge them along to kind of let's get something done. The problem with government, it's too slow, and we need to get something done.
Thank you so much, Bob Gasser, for being our guest here on Conservative Commandos radio show. Take care, and God bless.
Thank you.
And we are coming to you from the Conservative Commandos Radio Network studios and around the world on the internet with TalkStream Live, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, Net Talk America, and AM FM 24/7. I'm Sharron Angle, here with my co-host Melissa Isaak, and we'll be right back after these messages.
Friend, do you remember when it felt good to withdraw your cash from the bank to expand a business, go on vacation, or buy a new car? Well, today, withdrawing your own cash has become a very risky business, according to The Secret War, a shocking new research report. I just read it. And folks, I was amazed to learn why banks are now required to spy on us for the government and then report any suspicious or unusual behavior. I suggest you get The Secret War free. Just call the number on the screen, no charge, from the folks at Swiss America, and get this. Did you know simply spending cash today may be enough to have you branded as a potential criminal? That's right. The new war on cash is really a war against all freedom-loving Americans. The Secret War is yours free, so call the number on the screen and you can tell them Pat Boone gave you the number.
Dish TV is better than cable TV. Here's why. Dish has the nation's lowest TV price, along with an award-winning DVR that can skip commercials, record 8 shows at once, and get access to thousands of movies at your fingertips. cable simply can't even compare. So the smart choice is to cut the cable and get Dish. Plus, you get all these great TV features, free HD DVR upgrade, free installation, and free movie channels. Say goodbye to cable and get more with Dish TV. 877-290-7764, 877-290-7764. As an added bonus, you can switch to Dish now and receive a $50 Visa gift card. So call now and get Dish TV. Call 877-290-7764, 877-290-7764. That's 877-290-7764. Limited time offer, 24-month commitment and credit qualification required. Cancellation fee, monthly equipment fees, and other restrictions apply. Promotion can change at any time.
Do you know someone with a drug or alcohol problem? Get help right now. Insurance may cover everything. Stop the drug and alcohol nightmare.
Call 800-209-5173.
Everybody wants cheap airfare, but where do you find it? You call Low Cost Airlines. They specialize in cheap flights, discount hotel rooms, cheap car rental rates, and with a best price guarantee. If you want the lowest prices on your airline tickets or other travel services, call now. That's right, call. That's the only way to get these rates. Experts are standing by 24/7 to get you the cheapest airfare and hotel rates available. So don't wait. Call now.
Are you being audited and do you owe the IRS $10,000 or more in back taxes? Is the IRS threatening to take more of your money? Don't fight the IRS alone. The Tax Doctor is here to help you negotiate your tax bill and reduce your stress. The IRS can freeze your assets and seize your bank accounts, but you can stop these IRS actions. The Tax Doctor will work with you using our years of experience to represent your case to help you get the best resolution under the IRS guidelines. Help is here to deal with the IRS to reduce your stress. We've handled thousands of cases, so we know what we're doing. If you owe $10,000 or more in back taxes, do not call the IRS alone. Call a Tax Doctor now for a tax emergency analysis.
If you're living with diabetes and using insulin, you know the pain of pricking your fingers over and over again. By wearing a small remote device called a continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, you can reduce the pain of pricking your fingers right away. If you're testing your blood sugar 4 more times per day, injecting insulin 3 or more times per day, or using an insulin pump, call the Diabetic Health Hotline today and learn about the latest CGM technology. Not only can a CGM immediately reduce pain, it's accurate, easy to use, and helps you make better diabetes treatment decisions. And if you have Medicare, you can get a new CGM at little or no out-of-pocket cost. We'll also provide free shipping of your new CGM, and we'll bill your insurance company for you.
Welcome back, listeners, to the Conservative Commandos radio show and the AUN TV network. I'm here, Sharron Engel, here with my co-host, Melissa Isaak, and we want to give a shout out to all of those listeners on radio stations in Jacksonville, Tampa, and the Villages, Florida, Las Vegas and Reno, Nevada, Macon, Georgia, Lancaster and Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, Boulder and Colorado Springs, Colorado, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, Long Beach, California, Arlington, Virginia, and Washington, D.C. And Melissa, we have our next guest ready. Would you please introduce him?
Yes, we're here with Dr. Matthew Bunson. He's the executive editor of EWTN News. He's the author or co-author of more than 50 books, including the Encyclopedia of American Catholic History and an award-winning biography of Pope Francis. Dr. Bunson, welcome to the Conservative Commandos radio show.
Oh, very good to be with you again.
So hopefully we're going to talk about several topics with you, but President Trump did an exclusive interview with Raymond Arroyo. And he said President Trump said he will issue an executive order designed to protect public statues.
That's right.
Let's start there.
Sure.
What did President Trump say?
Well, I mean, it was a very wide-ranging interview with Raymond Arroyo, the anchor of and host of The World Over, which is one of the programs for EWTN News. And Raymond had actually interviewed the future president in 2016, And that was also very wide-ranging. In this case, the president was eager, I think, to talk about some of the most pressing issues that we're looking at as a country. And as you note, one of them is the destruction of statues, sort of the sterilization of history that we're seeing across the country. It was newsworthy because the president made it very clear that he intends to sign some sort of an executive order to try to protect statues. Now, he also noted in his reply to Raymond is that the local authorities also have jurisdiction here, so how that's going to work, we'll have to see. But clearly the president expressed his concern over the destruction of statues, and Raymond raised several of the important statues that were torn down, including St. Junipero Serra in California, Ulysses S. Grant, which is one of those ironic choices to destroy. We can talk more about that in a second, but the president obviously looks at this as a winning issue and something that he wants to deal with.
Well, something that needs to be dealt with. I think it's extremely pressing right now in a lot of communities. I know my community here in Montgomery, Alabama was affected, and all over the United States. So, whether, that's a interesting choice of words, a winning issue, because I'm not sure in this case how we would define this being a winning issue, but this is the thing is it's like there's a cancel culture out there wanting to erase history. We simply cannot do that. And I'm glad that President Trump is stepping up and at least addressing it, because honestly, I think a lot of people feel in limbo right now.
Well, I agree. And I think as we've seen in the last weeks, there has been a steady progression in terms of the protests and the direction they've taken. What began as protests over the killing of George Floyd that outraged everyone, we're now seeing a focus instead on things like statues, on historical memorials. It's important to stress that these statues have been targets for a very long time, from progressive groups in particular. You can separate out, I think, at least for purposes of discussion, the statues of Confederate leaders that many people find offensive against statues that are being destroyed apparently out of complete historical ignorance or the willful destruction of American history and culture. I would go back to the destruction, for example, in Golden Gate Park of the statue of Ulysses S. Grant, who, it may not have been known to the protesters, not only was President of the United States, but was the general of the Union armies, that brought an end to the Civil War and therefore the evil practice and evil slavery that was really the focus of the war itself. I think there are threats as well that the Emancipation statue is going to be torn down, or at least you're going to try to do that tomorrow night. That is a statue here in D.C. I know that has a lot of history to it, and some of it not very popular. But again, that shifting tide of where they want the protesters, the mob, so to speak, is now really focused on eradication of history, and that's what we're starting to see across the country, again, without much sense at all, and without clearly any historical awareness of the damage that they're actually causing.
Yep, I agree. Trump also talked about the Democratic Party operatives will advance a pro-abortion agenda if Biden is elected to the White House. Now, the interesting thing is, over the years we've heard, the narrative is this is a woman's right to choose. It's a woman's right to choose. But abortion is so much more than that. Aborted fetal tissue and aborted baby parts are big business. And I don't think people realize that. So can you speak somewhat to Trump's statement about Biden's pro-abortion agenda?
Well, the question itself was framed by Raymond along the lines of the fact that there are those who would argue that Joe Biden, for his positions on other categories, global warming, for example, would try to present himself as a pro-life candidate. This was, of course, dismissed out of hand by the president. Let's go back to 2016 when Donald Trump ran on what was a very aggressive pro-life platform. And while some people may have some disappointments with some of the judges he's appointed, including the Supreme Court, one thing that he has very clearly been aware of for the last 3.5 years is the fact that his election is partly due to a high turnout among pro-life voters. And so he's very cognizant of that. And so his answer then was twofold. I think he first tried to dismiss Biden as any sort of a pro-life candidate, and we can. That's going to be something that will have to be discussed as the campaign goes on. Certainly, his record would demonstrate somebody who has long supported abortion, and as one of the leading candidates throughout this campaign, was very clear in his support of abortion, essentially up to birth, to abortion on demand. So that's a topic I think that as we're looking issue by issue as news organizations that we need to revisit. But the president then was also trying to once again reiterate what he sees are his own pro-life credentials. That he has asserted that he is the most pro-life president ever. So this was a question, I think, that really served Trump to try to, again, cast Biden as a pro-abortion candidate and himself as a pro-life candidate. So we're seeing one of those demarcation lines, a real red line as we're heading into the fall campaign.
Right. Another thing that's been a topic of a lot of news organizations has been the leading to a rigged election. You know, that we want to vote from home. We need mail-in ballots, we need absentee ballots. You know, some people are opposed to that. Some people are opposed to voter ID laws. But what was Trump's concerns about this leading to a rigged election?
Well, in this case, it was a question related to the pandemic and how we're going to stage and hold an election in the middle of social distancing and people who might be afraid to go to the polls. What does that look like? We have seen in a number of the primaries so far that there has been some, I hate to use the term chaos, but there have been a lot of questions about how smoothly the operation has gone with mail-in ballots. And Trump then is focusing on that because, as he asserted, millions of ballots are being mailed out without, in his view, sufficient monitoring and control and organization. So I think he's right now putting down, from his standpoint, I think, a marker or something to look at as the campaign goes on, as the Trump campaign is likely, as will the Republican National Committee, I should think, be fighting many of these ideas of mail-in ballots as the primary mechanism for voting come November. So we're already seeing here tactical movements as we progress again into the fall campaign.
All right. Well, we're going to have to take a break. We're here with Dr. Matthew Bunson. We're coming to you from the Conservative Commandos Radio Network studios and around the world on the internet with TalkStream Live, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, Net Talk America, and AM FM 24/7. And we'll be right back.
Are you a veteran and are you a homeowner? Then think Streamline and maybe save yourself a few $100s every month on your mortgage. A VA Streamline refinance. It's called a rate reduction loan because mortgage interest reduction is exactly what it does. It's just for veterans and it lowers your mortgage rate so you can save on mortgage payments every month, every year. That's a lot of money saved. And it's so easy to qualify. You don't need pay stubs, a W-2, or bank statements. You don't need a home appraisal. It's fast and easy to apply. And mortgage interest rates are very low right now. So a VA Streamline refinance makes it super easy and super affordable to take advantage of this opportunity and really cut your monthly mortgage payments. Veteran and homeowner? Call us to find out more. 888-893-7491. 888-893-7491.
Do you have an idea for an invention, but you don't know what to do next?
How do you get in front of companies or get a patent?
Call InventHelp. They've been helping inventors just like you for 35 years.
And thousands of people contact them every month.
With 65 offices, you can meet with an InventHelp representative near you who will keep your idea confidential and explain their invention process step by step. InventHelp has helped over 10,000 inventors get patents. And they offer 3D animations and prototyping services to help demonstrate your idea. InventHelp's exclusive databank includes over 9,000 companies who have agreed to confidentially review new ideas, like yours.
Don't wonder what to do next. Take action right now and get the help you need from InventHelp.
InventHelp. Call today for free information.
800-880-2937. That's 800-880-2937 now.
Is your credit card debt driving you batty?
We're going up! Just like your credit card fees and interest rates. To the top! With those sky-high payments! You can't forget about your debt. Always fear, the debt suckers are here!
Are your payments sucking the life out of you? Just one call to Consolidated Credit can get the debt suckers off your back. Consolidated Credit will lower your interest rates, consolidate your bills into one easy payment, and get you out of debt fast. Call Consolidated Credit and get your life back.
Call 1-800-201-8213. 1-800-201-8213. That's 1-800-201-8213. 1-800-201-8213.
When debt is the problem, Consolidated Credit is the solution.
Because debt sucks!
The AM/FM 24/7 Roku channel broadcasts all of our shows on demand. To ensure reliability, we store and stream our content on the same servers as Netflix and Amazon. Our Roku channel is free to use, and anyone owning one of the more than 10 million Roku devices can watch our channel at no cost whatsoever. If you have a television show or are thinking about producing a show, you can be a part of AM/FM 24/7's Roku channel. Watch our great shows on your Roku device. It's free and more reliable than cable TV. Are you stuck with a timeshare? Did you attend the presentation and were seduced and enticed into buying that great vacation and investment? Now you're in the terrible position of trying to figure out a way to get out of that mess. You're not alone. For over 15 years, BuyYourTimeshare.com has been helping people like yourself get out of timeshare ownership. The fact is there is no resale market. Unscrupulous telemarketers call you and say they have buyers waiting, and the next thing that happens is you give them hundreds of dollars for an ad, and you'll never hear from them again. Another fact is that an identical timeshare to yours is being offered on eBay for $1, and no one is buying it. If you want out of your timeshare, I urge you to go to BuyYourTimeshare.com or call them at 877-94-HELP-ME. That number again is 877-94-HELP-ME. BuyYourTimeshare.com. That's BuyYourTimeshare.com. 877-94.
Attention Viagra and Cialis users. Are prescription drugstore prices too costly? Get 50 generic pills for only $99. That's right, 50 100 milligram generic Viagra for only $99. Our products have the same active ingredients as the brand name products. Money back guaranteed if you're 100% not satisfied. Get 50 generic pills for only $99. Order now and call the number on your screen. Have your credit card ready.
Welcome back, listeners, to our Conservative Commandos radio show. And if you'd like to hear a rebroadcast of today's show, check out our website, ccrshow.com, ccrshow.com. While you're there, be sure to friend us, follow us, and like us on Facebook and on Twitter. I'm Sharron Angle here with my co-host Melissa Isaak, and we've been talking with Dr. Matthew Bunson, who's the executive editor of EWTN News, and he has been talking to us about an interview that Raymond Arroyo did with President Trump on June 22nd. We could go so many places. I guess I want to follow up a little bit on the things that you discussed with Melissa. The first one, of course, is these statues. We've all seen Black Lives Matter director or spokesperson Sean King saying that the next statues will be those of Jesus. And he made some remarkable statements about Christianity. I was just appalled to hear him invalidate Christians and conservatives. We're not even, he said, we're not even fit to serve in office or be the head of any businesses. I mean, this is just so radical. It's hard for me to even get my hands around someone that is so anti-Christ, really.
Well, I mean, the comments themselves attempting to link depictions and art of Jesus Christ and his mother, the Blessed Mother, as vessels of white supremacy. I think one of the things that surprised a lot of Christian leaders, the Catholic leaders in particular, is that the comment itself seems to fly in the face of just the demographic, numeric reality of Christianity. There are over 1 billion Catholics in the world, for example. The centers of gravity for Catholicism are in Africa, they're in Asia, they're in Latin America. So the idea that the expressions of Christianity are exclusively Caucasian or white is simply not borne out by the lived experience of Christians. And this, in a way, connects to some of the problems that we're seeing with the destruction of statues as well, that this complete ignorance of history, reality, and fact relating to the people who are depicted in these statues, so certainly, as I was saying, Junipero Serra, it's troubling because this is a movement of destruction of statues and now the threatened destruction of art that is beyond simply being iconoclastic. I think it demonstrates some real concerns for where we might be headed culturally.
Well, it's amazing to me because even during world wars, when bombs are dropping everywhere, the idea that we preserve historical places and artwork was always foremost on both sides. I mean, everybody said, "No, we're not gonna do that," and yet this movement is exactly doing that. And I'm just amazed at their lack of education, I guess, on what culture is all about.
Part of it, too, is that one way of thinking about this is that there have been over the years criticisms of Junipero Serra, for example, who, for your members of your audience who may not be that familiar with him, was a Franciscan friar who established 9 of the 21 famed missions in California. In his time in the 18th century, when he was in California, he died in service to the California. He established much of what California is today. Mm-hmm. So a statue to him is as much a testament to the faith of a man that the Catholic Church sees as a saint, but also as one of the really significant figures in the creation of what we think of as California. I joke that he's even been known as the father of California wine because the Franciscan friars introduced to California many of the grapes that became so important in the California wine industry. So the destruction of a statue of Junipero Serra extends just well beyond what we think of him as a saint, and even the criticisms themselves are subject to great historical controversy. So what we're actually seeing is an expression of sort of sanitizing history rather than trying to purify the memory of it. And historically, when we've seen this happen in places like the French Revolution and the Cultural Revolution in China, it has never gone well for a culture and for a civil society.
Well, I think you're really hitting on what most of us as Christians know to be a fact, that God has his hand upon this country, but the more that we slap his hand away and say, don't need this, the less we see the blessings of liberty, really. And I was thinking about your discussion about abortion. I heard the head of the Democrat Party say that party is a majority pro-life, and I just, my head just went, what? Because I've heard of triangulation, but this is kind of an out-and-out lie. I mean, the statistics show that they are overwhelmingly pro-abortion. Isn't that true? Maybe they've had an epiphany.
Well, we've seen certainly in the last decades a rapid shrinking, a diminishment of what once considered to be a pro-life caucus on the Hill for the Democrats. When we go back to even just not that many years ago to the passage of the Affordable Care Act, or Obamacare, what was then a fairly still sizable group of pro-life Democrats did their best to prevent things like the inclusion of abortion in the Affordable Care Act, we have seen subsequent to that the rapid decline, certainly in elected office, of pro-life Democrats. The most recent loss being Dan Lipinski in Illinois, who was one of the most staunch pro-life Democrats in Congress. He was essentially defeated in a primary with massive amounts of spending from Planned Parenthood and other pro-abortion organizations. So clearly, the priority for that leadership, certainly with Nancy Pelosi on the House side, Charles Schumer on the Senate side, is to elect candidates that are considered to be pro-abortion. And let's go back to the primary debates when Mayor Pete Buttigieg was asked during one of the town hall debates, is there room in the Democratic Party for pro-life voters? And he was rather hesitant to say that there is, in fact. So we've heard some conciliatory statements from Amy Klobuchar and a few others, but the reality is that not one of the Democratic candidates taken seriously in this election cycle has taken any position that would be other than essentially abortion on demand.
Well, that's what I've seen as well. I want to stay on the Hill for a minute. That's where our Supreme Court is. And I want you to talk a little bit about the latest decisions. I was shocked. We thought in Neil Gorsuch we had a conservative. We thought in John Roberts we had a conservative. And yet we've seen in the last few weeks that they are not upholding conservative values. What do you say about this Supreme Court?
Well, certainly the decision was disappointing to a lot of people who had sort of high expectations regarding what everyone assumed would be the voting record of Neil Gorsuch. There's been a lot of frustration and anger at Neil Gorsuch, but you rightly point out that this is a 6-3 decision. Gorsuch could very well have gone in the opposite direction, and still we'd have a 5-4 majority decision, thanks to Chief Justice John Roberts. So it's not entirely on Gorsuch that this decision came about. What it is going to do, I think, in a similar way that we saw with the Obergefell decision a number of years ago, that legalized same-sex marriage, this is going to open the floodgates for massive interpretation of sex discrimination, as well as, I think, lawsuits and regulatory problems for a lot of individuals who are going to be trying to push the frontiers now of what same-sex discrimination could be or gender discrimination could be. So this is now just the start of what a number of legal experts are referring to as a Pandora's box of lawsuits and real challenges to traditional Christian interpretations of sexuality.
Well, unfortunately, we're at a time where we have to stop. Would you please tell our listeners how they can friend you, follow you, connect with you, read articles, and just see what EWTN is all about?
Well, you can follow me at Matt Bunson on Twitter. You can also go to EWTNnews.com for our ongoing coverage of SCOTUS as well as the election. So it's a great pleasure to be with you tonight.
Thank you so much. We really appreciate you being our guest here on Conservative Commandos radio show. Take care and God bless you.
You too.
And we are coming to you from the Conservative Commandos Radio Network studios and around the world on the internet with TalkStream Live, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, NetTalk America, and AM/FM 24/7. I'm Sharron Engel here with my co-host Melissa Isaak, and we'll be right back after these messages.
Are you a veteran and are you a homeowner? Then think Streamline and maybe save yourself a few $100s every month on your mortgage. A VA Streamline refinance. It's called a rate reduction loan because mortgage interest reduction is exactly what it does. It's just for veterans and it lowers your mortgage rate so you can save on mortgage payments every month, every year. That's a lot of money saved. And it's so easy to qualify. You don't need pay stubs, a W-2, or bank statements. You don't need a home appraisal. It's fast and easy to apply. And mortgage interest rates are very low right now. So a VA Streamline Refinance makes it super easy and super affordable to take advantage of this opportunity and really cut your monthly mortgage payments. Veteran and homeowner? Call us to find out more. 888-893-7491. 888-893-7491.
Do you have an idea for an invention, but you don't know what to do next?
How do you get in front of companies or get a patent?
Call InventHelp. They've been helping inventors just like you for 35 years.
And thousands of people contact them every month.
With 65 offices, you can meet with an InventHelp representative near you who will keep your idea confidential and explain their invention process step by step. InventHelp has helped over 10,000 inventors get patents. And they offer 3D animations and prototyping services to help demonstrate your idea. InventHelp's exclusive databank includes over 9,000 companies who have agreed to confidentially review new ideas, like yours.
Don't wonder what to do next. Take action right now and get the help you need from InventHelp.
InventHelp. Call today for free information.
800-880-2937. That's 800-880-2937 now.
Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to the Conservative Commandos radio show. I'm Sharron Engel here with my co-host, Melissa Isaak. And we want to talk a little bit about AUN TV. You can see us there in Northern California, in San Francisco, San Rafael, Marin, North Bay, San Jose, Silicon Valley, Santa Rosa, Redding, Sacramento, Chico, California, and soon in Reno, Carson City, and Lake Tahoe, Nevada. Melissa, our guest is ready. Would you please introduce him and make him feel welcome?
Yes. We're here with Mr. Steve Overguard. Steve and his wife, Debbie, own and operate Alberta Adventures. Steve's been hunting since he was 12 and has been guiding hunts in the Northwest Territories and Northern British Columbia since 1978. His love for the outdoors has been passed on to his daughters, son-in-laws, and grandchildren, and he loves to share that with his guests as well. This is the love and passion that has made Alberta Adventures the world-class family business that it is. Steve, welcome to the Conservative Commandos radio show.
Thank you, ladies, so much. I'm really, really happy that you invited me to talk.
So, Steve, Alberta Adventures, you're up in Canada, correct?
Correct, yes. We live in Alberta. Our home is in Sundre, Alberta, which is close to Calgary, approximately 60 miles from Calgary. Our major business, though, is right up in the northwest part of the province, north of high-level Alberta. Right now, we are totally in the bush. We fly in where we're at. We cannot, this is so ironic and so special that I can see two beautiful women beside my wife here, and there is nobody here. We're 60 miles, air miles from anywhere, the closest town. So this is pretty neat for a bush ape to see all this and to experience it. We do fishing, hunting, adventure tours, everything. And as you know, I've been doing it for 40 years, me and my wife, Debbie, and I'm sure we'll get into that, how the COVID has been affecting our business.
Yeah, so obviously your business, you rely on people coming in from maybe the United States, other parts of Canada, coming to your business to hunt and to fish. And so how has the COVID pandemic and the COVID restrictions affected your business?
It's unbelievable. We have right now in our fishing lodge, we have 10, 11 cabins here, and all our cabins are social distance. And right now I have 6 people here, and they're all friends of mine from Alberta that have flown in. And most years I take 50. I'll be full right at this time. I'll take 50 people. All cabins are 30 meters. Well, we're meters, 30, 40 yards apart, and we can't get anyone to come here. An important part of our business, as you mentioned, is from the United States, the Europeans, even to come bird watching, to see the true outdoors. We live in the vast forest here, the boreal forest where we're at, and we are unbelievable. The wildlife. I have a pet fox here. We have bears this morning on our runway. It's incredible. It is truly incredible where we live, and now because of the COVID, I can't share it with everybody. I don't want to keep taking over here from you beautiful ladies, but I talked to a very personal friend from Chicago this morning that comes every year, and he says, when am I going to be able to come up? And another fellow from Texas says, I come every year, and he spends a month with us, just helping around. He'll go hunting, and to be honest, he doesn't really care about harvesting the animal. He needs to come up. He's retired, and same as the other guy from Chicago. He told me this morning, he said, I need this in my life. I need to get away from the people. I need to go see us. Not that we're special, but we become really close with our comrades in the States and the European nations, So
what sort of restrictions are in place that keep people from the United States coming to Alberta Adventures?
Well, we can't, the border's closed, and thus we can't have anybody come here right now. We lost a lot of money, over $150,000, right around that area, in the springtime, from having people come up in our spring season. Now we're in our summertime when we're doing our fishing, and we can't even get people from province to province here right now. Everybody is so scared. Everybody is Debbie, my beautiful bride, we're here right now, and I'm looking right now at the lake. It's beautiful, and usually I have guys coming in with boats with fish, walleye, big northern pike, and there's nothing, and it's really heartbreaking for me doing this for 40 years. It's very heartbreaking.
Steve, what about any sort of government assistance? I know that there's some programs that small businesses qualify for here in America. I don't know anybody who's actually got it, but they say that these programs are in place. So is there anything like that in Canada?
I think you hit the nail on the head. They say there is. Us as small business owners, and we try not to really get anybody but our families. Okay, so they're the way the restrictions are, us being sole proprietors of this business, we cannot get money. We can't. Pardon? My wife's talking about what? Yeah, I'm sorry. My wife is my number one sole. So it's because our type of a business. We're in the tourism business, and the federal government, Mr. Trudeau, doesn't really want to help us out in the tourist factor. We're in Alberta, and it's a big conservative area. And quite frankly, we're out in the cold. We can't get what we need. And so what? Something I think is very, very important. I'm 60 years old in about 5 days here. And so if I get the $40,000, how can I pay this back? If I don't get, they have a program now that I might qualify for, and how am I going to pay this back? If the people don't, if the border doesn't open and Mr. Trump doesn't let people come in, how am I going to pay this back? It just goes what? 10 years ago to my kids, my grandkids,
Right.
So that's my number one concern.
So if the regulations are relaxed, let's say this fall, would that help you at all?
Yeah, it would, but I need it done before September. I have that's a very important part of our business. Is the hunting and the fishing starts in September, right around September the 1st, and that's not just me. That's a tremendous amount of people. There's 500 of us outfitters in Alberta approximately, and we have a lot of money. Our GP is incredible. So we as people that live off the land, we really do, and we protect the land, and we love the land, and we needed to have it by September. If it doesn't open by September, there's going to be a tremendous amount of people that are going to walk away and hopefully maybe come down and go on the border or be homeless. I know that seems pretty bad, but it's beyond a joke. Truly beyond a joke.
Right. All righty. Well, we're going to have to take a break. We're speaking with Steve Overguard, and we're coming to you from the Conservative Commandos Radio Network studios and around the world on the internet with TalkStream Live, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, Net Talk America, and AM FM 24/7. And we'll be right back.
Is your credit card debt driving you batty?
We're going up! Just like your credit card fees and interest rates. To the top! With those sky-high payments! You can't forget about your debt. Always fear, the debt suckers are here!
Are your payments sucking the life out of you? Just one call to Consolidated Credit can get the debt suckers off your back. Consolidated Credit will lower your interest rates, consolidate your bills into one easy payment, and get you out of debt fast. Call Consolidated Credit and get your life back.
Call 1-800-201-8213. 1-800-201-8213. That's 1-800-201-8213. 1-800-201-8213.
When debt is the problem, Consolidated Credit is the solution.
Because debt sucks!
The AM/FM 24/7 Roku channel broadcasts all of our shows on demand. To ensure reliability, we store and stream our content on the same servers as Netflix and Amazon. Our Roku channel is free to use, and anyone owning one of the more than 10 million Roku devices can watch our channel at no cost whatsoever. If you have a television show or are thinking about producing a show, you can be a part of AM/FM 24/7's Roku channel. Watch our great shows on your Roku device. It's free and more reliable than cable TV. Are you stuck with a timeshare? Did you attend the presentation and were seduced and enticed into buying that great vacation and investment? Now you're in the terrible position of trying to figure out a way to get out of that mess. You're not alone. For over 15 years, BuyYourTimeshare.com has been helping people like yourself get out of timeshare ownership. The fact is there is no resale market. Unscrupulous telemarketers call you and say they have buyers waiting, and the next thing that happens is you give them hundreds of dollars for an ad, and you'll never hear from them again. Another fact is that an identical timeshare to yours is being offered on eBay for $1, and no one is buying it. If you want out of your timeshare, I urge you to go to buyyourtimeshare.com or call them at 877-94-HELP-ME. That number again is 877-94-HELP-ME. Buyyourtimeshare.com. That's buyyourtimeshare.com. 877-94.
Attention Viagra and Cialis users. Are prescription drugstore prices too costly? Get 50 generic pills for only $99. That's right, 50 100 milligram generic Viagra for only $99. Our products have the same active ingredients as the brand name products. Money back guaranteed if you're 100% not satisfied. Get 50 generic pills for only $99. Order now and call the number on your screen. Have your credit card ready.
Welcome back, listeners, to the Conservative Commandos radio show. I'm Sharron Engel here with my co-host, Melissa Isaak. And if you'd like to hear a rebroadcast of our show, check out our website, ccrshow.com, ccrshow.com. And be sure to friend us, follow us, and like us there on Facebook and Twitter. We've been talking with a friend of the show now, Steve Overguard, who is in Alberta, Canada. He has been hunting since he was 12, and he owns Alberta Adventures, which has just about been closed down because of the China virus. Steve, you went to CPAC this year just before they closed that border. I was there as well, and so was Melissa. And you spoke at CPAC. Tell us what you told CPAC.
Well, it was pretty. This is my second year at CPAC, and I got asked from Ann Snyder to participate and talk. And as you can tell, I'm not a great speaker talker, but I'm really down to heart. So I was at the convention and I talked about Canadian healthcare, just because of my family and different people that I know. So that was really, really cool. I was up on the stage, and it's pretty neat for me. 2 or 3 people later, Donald Trump was there. It was, here, where's Mr. Trump? It's pretty cool for me to go to CPAC and to open up a lot of people's eyes. And after my speech, a lot of people come up to me and said about the socialist healthcare system. And I could relate to everybody that would come and talk to me. And it was totally incredible how people related. And a lot of people moved to the States just to get your healthcare. And it was important for me to tell my fellow people in the United States to don't listen to everyone saying how our healthcare is so good, how this and this. Right now I've got a guy that just left here that was a physician, and he says he's a surgeon, and he told me anybody that he has from a hernia to whatever, he sends them to the United States to get help. Now, because of COVID, these people it's 5 years to get a surgery. It's unbelievable to get a knee. And it was like that before COVID, but now there's no hope. Really. I'm sorry, there's no hope the way our system for
Well, I know we fought hard to not have Obamacare in our country because we saw it as the at least the camel's nose under the tent, if not full-on socialist health care. And people kept saying, well, look at Canada, what a great system they have. So I'm glad that you're speaking out and talking about the differences. Tell us some of the differences besides the long waits. That's horrible. I was pretty frustrated when they canceled all unelective surgeries, and of course that just meant that unless you were in the emergency room, it meant you didn't get your surgery. It didn't mean you didn't need it. But at least now we've started having those surgeries again. And so what's happening in Canada is it's really crazy if you can't get a surgery for 5 years.
Yeah, it is. It is truly unbelievable. They have a certain amount, and I'll say this 180%. The only good thing about our Medicare system is everybody can get it. Everybody is whether you have a cold, whatever, everybody can come, and that is our biggest problem with it, as far as I'm concerned. Anybody can go there and they abuse it. If even some of my relatives, my older relatives that were, I'm gonna be up front, that were kind of lonely, well, they'd go to the doctor and they'd have something wrong. So that backs up. It's resolving door, and the people that really need it would have to wait. I have so many friends. Me personally, my family have had to go to Cleveland, and we had to. Thank God we had good friends in Ohio that signed it up for us. And my daughter, we went there and got cured. Oh, it's amazing. Within a couple of weeks, so I could go on and on with cancer patients, people I don't know that phone me now and have told me, and like I said, people have actually moved to the United States to get health care, to get an MRI. We can't get it. So these guys that tell you this stuff, tell them they're full of 100%. Tell them that they can't. You know, there might be the odd case. I don't. I'm not a doctor on the whole thing, but I know from personal experience that you do not.
Well, I know that you have, speaking of personal, you have a personal desire to build a CPAC in Canada, a Conservative Political Action Committee conference there in Canada. Tell us about that dream.
Oh, that is a big time dream. It seems a little crazy being a guy living in the bush, but I'm so adamant about it that I talked to Matt Slap and I talked to Dan Schneider, and we really want to start a CPAC in Alberta and do Calgary. Calgary's 60 miles, like I said. I live in Sundre, but Calgary used to be and still is. It's in my opinion very outgoing, very industrious city. We have beautiful surroundings, and I talked to them, and I really want to start a CPAC. And they're all in favor of it. That Canada being our, you guys are our closest ally, and we depend on you. And also, I think there's a lot that the States depends on us too. To be quite frankly, there's lots of people down east that depends on us, crossing the border with cars, everything. I go on and on. If we had someone like Mr. Trump here, right now, we're on the right now we're one of the smallest links in all of the world. We're this big. You guys are this big. We need someone that can fight for us. So that's why I think that I have so many people that want to come, well-off people that want to support the CPAC in Canada, to really let people go out and show what we're about. And now that the oil is down, but there's no reason for all this to be going on. There's no reason that our province is so devastated that it's shameful. We were the richest province in Canada. Now, because of we're not even recognized. I don't even want to go there because I don't want to really take up all your time. But sometimes Mr. Trudeau has not even recognized Alberta in his speeches. Like, it's sickening because we're so conservative, and he is so liberal. Well, he is liberal, but he's so conservative that, or I am so conservative. Our province is conservative, and it has been for decades. And so everybody is. We're I don't know what to say.
Well, we're at the end of saying anything anyway, because we're out of time. Steve Overguard, would you tell our listeners how they can friend you, follow you, connect with you, find out more about Alberta Adventures, and just give us a kind of a rundown on where they can find you.
Okay. Thank you again, ladies, so much. It's albertaadventures.com. I think that's important. I didn't realize that, but it is important to put the .com on there. We have a website. We do the hunting and fishing. On the website, you'll see our phone numbers. You'll see my great nephew's phone number, the lodge phone numbers, and you girls know this a lot more than I do. I have trouble turning the computer on. So you just scroll down and you'll see Tapawingo Lodge, TAP, and that's our fishing lodge, hunting. We're on Facebook, and I really, like I said, I really need you. We need the United States. We need to have you people come up, and like I said, we're very close with you. and just see the beauty of what we have. So,
Well, it sounds
AlbertaAdventures.com.
AlbertaAdventures.com. Thank you so much, Steve Overguard, for being our guest here on Conservative Commandos radio show. Take care and God bless you. And we are coming to, thank you. And we are coming to you from the Conservative Commandos Radio Network studios and around the world on the internet with TalkStream Live, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, Net Talk American, AM, FM 24/7. And of course, you can find us on the AUN TV network in Northern California. Melissa, Isaak, and I will be right back after this message.
Are you a veteran and are you a homeowner? Then think Streamline and maybe save yourself a few $100s every month on your mortgage. A VA Streamline refinance. It's called a rate reduction loan because mortgage interest reduction is exactly what it does. It's just for veterans and it lowers your mortgage rate so you can save on mortgage payments every month, every year. That's a lot of money saved. And it's so easy to qualify. You don't need pay stubs, a W-2, or bank statements. You don't need a home appraisal. It's fast and easy to apply. And mortgage interest rates are very low right now. So a VA Streamline refinance makes it super easy and super affordable to take advantage of this opportunity and really cut your monthly mortgage payments. Veteran and homeowner? Call us to find out more. 888-893-7491. 888-893-7491.
Do you have an idea for an invention, but you don't know what to do next?
How do you get in front of companies or get a patent?
Call InventHelp. They've been helping inventors just like you for 35 years.
And thousands of people contact them every month.
With 65 offices, you can meet with an InventHelp representative near you who will keep your idea confidential and explain their invention process step by step. InventHelp has helped over 10,000 inventors get patents. And they offer 3D animations and prototyping services to help demonstrate your idea. InventHelp's exclusive databank includes over 9,000 companies who have agreed to confidentially review new ideas, like yours.
Don't wonder what to do next. Take action right now and get the help you need from InventHelp.
InventHelp. Call today for free information.
800-880-2937. That's 800-880-2937 now.
Melissa, Isaak, time flies when you're having fun. As my co-host Anna Little always used to say, the time just goes by so quickly. And we're right there at that place again where we need you to tell our listeners how they can connect with you and also thank our guests.
I'm on Facebook, just Melissa Isaak. I'm one of only two. And you can see my picture on there. I'm on Instagram, Melissa Isaak, and I think Twitter, just at melissa.isaak. So that's where you can find me.
And would you thank our guests?
Yeah, let me do that too. First one we talked to was Bob Gasser. And I want to thank Bob Gasser. What a neat guy. He's co-owner of Basin Fertilizer and Chemical Company located in the heart of the Klamath Basin in Merrill, Oregon. And he organized a 30-mile, I don't want to call it a rally, like a peaceful protest worth of tractors and tractor equipment, because the farmers in that area are being deprived of water. I mean, there's farmers, there's some that you know personally, who are not able to grow their crops this year because of the just really over-regulation by the federal government. So it was really neat talking to him. What a great guy. I mean, that's a guy that sort of, took the bull by the horns and is making change. We spoke with Matthew Bunson, and Matthew talked about the interview that President Trump had with Raymond Arroyo on EWTN News, and he had some. What a well-versed guy. I love talking to people who are just intelligent but have facts to back up everything that they say, because that's not always in news organizations. But talked about the pro-abortion agenda if Biden is elected, talking about the fear of rigged elections, really, because people don't want voter ID. They don't want to vote in person. So it was really interesting speaking with him. And then, of course, Steve Overguard with Alberta Adventures up in Alberta, Canada. And he has an outfitter business where they do hunting and fishing. And this COVID pandemic has really all but killed his business. I mean, he has so many people coming from the United States. The borders are now closed. And it's like no one is even taking into consideration the impact that this is having on small businesses. So, but what a neat guy. When those borders open back up, I know my husband would love to go. I would too.
I would too. It sounds like a great place. And sadly, we're out of time now. So we got to run. We got to go. Take care. God bless. And we'll see you tomorrow on TV and on radio.